Good evening, everyone. I, Prajakta Lakde,
And I, Shweta Tambe.
are your hosts and hosts for the evening. As Hillary Clinton once said, women are the largest untapped reservoir of talent in the world, and we could not agree more. Women are the leaders everywhere you look, from the CEO who runs the Fortune 500 company to the housewife who raises children and heads the household. These women still strive to make a difference while inspiring other women to break the stereotypes. Our event, The Power of We, intends to amplify the voices of these women. With this, I would like to extend a warm welcome to the panelists, director sir, faculty members, non-teaching staff, and the students gathered here to support and empower women entrepreneurs. The Power of We is an initiative by the newly formed Family Managed Business Cell. The goal of FMB Cell is to build awareness around the broad array of career opportunities in family business, and it strongly believes that the future is women, which is why we have with us such esteemed panelists who will be sharing their views on current scenario and future scope of women entrepreneurship and the barriers that they face.
Thanks, Prajakta, for such a vigorous introduction. Now, I would like to welcome our director, Sir, Dr. Satish Moth. Dr. Moth is a leading researcher in the field of business ethics and strategy. He has been teaching ethics and business ethics at SGM School of Management, IIT Bombay, School of Business Management, NMIMS, Department of Education, University of Mumbai. He went on to publish various books on disaster management, namely A Citizen's Guide to Disaster Management, Introduction to Disaster Management, and Managing Natural Disasters. He has written a pioneering book titled Ethical Management based on Indian value system. He is also the author of the popular book Discover the Arjuna in You. Professor Moth has received the prestigious Devang Mehta Award for outstanding contribution to education. Now, I humbly request Dr. Satish Moth, sir, to address the gathering.
Yeah, good afternoon and welcome to all the panelists. This is an excellent idea about this having women entrepreneurs in this family business cell activity. As right in the opening remark, they commented that women have been all-rounders, taking care of family and working and contributing to the society as well as raising the children. So this is definitely a right theme, that it is not that they are only working, but they are setting up their own businesses and managing them very well along with managing the family. It will be very, very interesting to hear all the panelists and their experiences. And I am sure that all our students will get inspirations from them. I once again welcome all the panelists and would like to congratulate the student team and Professor Jyoti for their excellent idea of having this webinar. Thank you once again. Welcome to all.
Thank you so much, sir, for your encouraging words. Now, I would like to introduce our cell head, Dr. Jyoti Chandwani ma'am. She is a PhD in management from Sardar Vallabhbhai Institute of Technology with a co-guide from IIM Ahmedabad, MA in English. A teaching enthusiast with a strong streak for spirituality, she walks in with a rich experience of 14 years in academia and 4 years in the industry. She has a wide array of knowledge and skills in the areas of design thinking, entrepreneurship, research methodology, and human resources. She has several research papers to her credit in the field of women entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. Her take towards academics is integrating education with spirituality and emotional intelligence. Currently, she is working with Vivekanand Institute of Management Studies and Research, Mumbai, as an associate professor, COE of Entrepreneurship Cell and MSME, COE of FMB Cell, COE of Self Management Course, COE or Spirituality Cell. She has published 16 papers in international and national journals and presented 18 papers in international and national conferences. She was also a chair and co-chair in many international conferences. She was awarded with Best Professors in Human Resource Management by ET Now and World HRD Congress, and Best Faculty Academics and the Most Favorite Teacher for consecutive 4 years. Now, I would request Jyoti ma'am to enlighten the audience about today's panel discussion.
Thank you so much, Prajakta, for the detailed introduction. A very warm good evening to Director Sir, our esteemed panelists, my faculty colleagues, non-teaching staff, and my dear students. As Head of Family Managed Business Cell, Vivekananda Institute of Management Studies and Research, it gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you on the panel discussion, The Power of We, The Future is Women. Yesterday was Dashera, the last day of celebration of Navratri. Navratri is also called the celebration of woman power. The Hindu festival of Navratri celebrates the feminine principles of nature. What could have been a better way of celebrating Navratri with the PGDM students by organizing a panel discussion of such dynamic womenpreneurs? Talking about Navratri, it is much awaited last quarter of the year. It is the time for bonfires in the north, Dandiya in the west, festivals in the east, and Kolu in the south. Navratri celebrates the victory of good over evil, light over darkness, and chaos. But more than anything else is the celebration of woman power, Shakti, or the female principle of nature. Navratri festivals are thus dedicated to Parvati, Lakshmi, and Saraswati, the three feminine icons of Hinduism, symbolizing power, wealth, and knowledge. The first 3 days of Navratri are dedicated to Ma Durga, the goddess of power and energy. During the next 3 days, Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, peace, and prosperity, is worshipped. The last 3 days celebrate Saraswati, the goddess of wisdom, whose worship. The last day, that was the yesterday, was Vijay Dashmi or Dasera. I could really see the above characteristics of different goddesses in my esteemed panelists. We spoke about Ma Durga, the goddess of power and energy, which I can see clearly in Miss Prachi Kaushik's work. She quit her government job and founded Vyomini, which is the meaning is divine, to build a robust ecosystem that enable women-led entrepreneurship and leadership in emerging high-impact sectors, clean energy, agriculture, and nutrition. Prachi has empowered over 10,000 grassroots women to solve problems through health awareness and rural economies by entering into manufacture sector. Thus, she has given power and energy to those women. It is indeed a divine thought, Prachi. Ma Durga, the goddess of power, most welcome. Ma Durga, the goddess of power and energy, was also seen in Miss Mreema Lokesh's work, where she believes that the world is made up of remarkable people and have got remarkable stories to share. She left her career as a journalist to contribute to the noble cause of the society. I welcome you, Reema, on the dais. Next, I spoke about Saraswati, the goddess of wisdom, which I can see in Nidika is also the All Ladies League Maharashtra chairperson for coaching and have addressed dignitaries, diplomats, and political leaders. Many of our blogs have been published in Thrive Global and different posts in USA Economic Times newspaper. Has also did a feature on her in ET Women Entrepreneurship section. So we can see that Ms. Nidika is contributing to the wisdom of the society. I welcome you on the dais, Nidika.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jyoti. It's my pleasure.
Pleasure is mine always. Next, we spoke about Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, peace, and prosperity, which I can clearly see in Lyric Agrawal's work, where Lyric trains young intellectual minds for betterment in their career. She, in short, is shaping the future generation of our country, thus adding wealth, peace, and prosperity in their career. I would have loved to talk more and more about the distinguished panelists, but the anchors, Prajakta and Shweta, have really worked hard for this event. So I don't want to disappoint them, girls. Like, the dais is open to you all. Please start it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your such kind words. Now, I would like to welcome our first panelist for the day, Ms. Mreema Lokesh. Ms. Reema is a career journalist, clarity coach, teacher, classical dancer, and an eternal optimist. With over 20 years of work experience, 18 years well spent in the field of niche journalism, wherein She served as editor, hospitality, and travel vertical business publications division of the Indian Express Group. She decided to move on at the top of her game and from her upbeat workplace with an aim to build a venture as or more upbeat. She launched Remarkable.com in March 2020, a content and connect media platform with a single minded aim to share stories of sense and not sensation, stories that are noteworthy and not just newsworthy. Her professional life took her to places far and wide, both national and international, visiting 33 countries, coming back enriched, learning, unlearning, and relearning from these experiences. Reema ma'am is a Nritya Visharad from Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Mumbai, and a student of the Natwari Banaras School of Kathak. She was the NCC All India Best Cadet and recipient of the prestigious President's Medal in the year 1992. She represented the country as an air cadet to Singapore on a youth exchange program. She holds a master's degree from the University of Mumbai in political science and also works as a life and clarity coach. Also, we are grateful to Ms. Mreema Lokesh as today's panel discussion video will be available on our Facebook page as well as YouTube channel named Remarkable. Now, I request our moderator for the day, Ms. Mreema, to give an opening remark for the event. Thank you.
Ms. Shweta and Ms. Prajakta, before I welcome anyone, I want to say a big thank you to you girls.
Thank you,
Because, we can say all our thank yous to everyone, but as a student in Superior College, when I used to work in my cells, I know what it takes to be a student who coordinates events. So more power to you girls, because the world is your oyster and the world is actually your playground. So really kick hard.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Let me come to a few things that I really want to share. I'm not here to say anything, not here to preach. I'm here as a friend. I'm here as a woman. I'm here as a mother. I've been blessed with two beautiful girls, age 40, age 15 and age 9. And when I look back at my life, I cherish every moment of it. Every moment, because as Prajakta rightly said, even your mother at home is an entrepreneur. Think about it. She puts everything together for you. Putting on your table is also entrepreneurship because she juggles with so much. So what is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship for me is nothing but to stay true to yourself. Trust me, it holds, it's a very small word, but being true to yourself is the only sense that kept me going in my 20 years of journalism. The years that I had on was ethics, integrity, that nothing shook me there. And I'm proud of my ex-organization that did not lead me towards shaking that principle. And passion and purpose. Because if you don't have a purpose, nothing matters in life. You can all profits, but profit without purpose is a bit meaningless in my life. And most importantly, as time took me into different journeys of my life, I just believed in one thing, that is attitude of gratitude. Girls, boys out right there, please remember these two words, the attitude of gratitude. I learned it at 45. You can easily learn it at 25. I cherished what my mother-in-law did for me. She was one woman force, as they say, Durga. A woman who stood by me and let me flourish in my career was my mother-in-law. And I was traveling the world across 33 countries, name it, I had this very high-flying so-called life. My backbone. So I cherish her. I cherish that woman who supported me in my career. I cherish the man who I call my husband, who stood by me neck to neck, not questioning me, not doubting me, not having his daily goals, but being with me like rock solid. So boys, listen to this simple advice. Respect your wife. Respect her to the core and give her the platform to work together. Because you both, as a man and woman, as they call Nar Nari, It's togetherness, is oneness. So girls, foremost, learn to respect yourselves, and boys as well. But remember to respect each other, because together we can. I'm not here to say we are in this war against, saying, hey, we are the women and we are the top. No, no, no. We have our limitations, but we are saying respect. First thing is respect yourselves. And number two, girls, boys, first and foremost, put your hands together for your organization called Vivekananda Education Society. This organization has brought in hand-picked panelists. There are beautiful women on my panel today, whether it's Lyric Agarwal, whether it is Nidika Bahel, and whether it is Prashi Kochik. These three beautiful ladies are just not ladies who are newsworthy, but they have done noteworthy work. As a moderator today, I'm more of a speaker, I'm a moderator today because I want the beautiful three ladies to speak their minds. As a policy, I speak to them on a personal level as well. And one thing that I got from all three of the ladies here is strength. I got the spirit of strength from all three of them, and they gave me energy. Proud about something that what she did, path-breaking in the rural communities of India. Nitika spoke about her beautiful life from, let me be honest, girls, from being suicidal. She attempted suicide to being India's best authors today is a journey that she took. And Lyric Agarwal, at the age of 22, put her neck out and said, hey guys, wait, hang on. I'm the entrepreneur. I'm here to stand for myself. How I wish this could have been a live audience. I want to see the energy, but somehow I feel there is energy in all discussion. I can't see you girls. I can only feel the energy. I can't see why my 125 beautiful participants here. But once again, Vivekananda Education Society, ma'am, she made the effort to bring this panel together. Prachi, Shweta, and the team, you all made this effort to bring the panel together. First and foremost, please clap for yourselves. Because it's not easy to bring a panel of this caliber, women with such depth, to come together to speak their minds. I won't want to too long because it's not fair on my panelists. Before we move on, 4 principles: ethics, integrity, passion, and purpose. Keep this with you. Boys, respect yourselves. Girls, love yourself. Because every day, it can't be easy. Look into yourself and say, I'm the best. Trust me, it works. It's this beautiful formula of self-talk that works. I am the best, period. All right, girls and boys. Now, as we move on into this fantastic discussion called we, what is we? I mean, come on, the power of we is what I think. Prachi, are you there with us? You're traveling, I respect that. Hence, I want to bring you in first. Beautiful. Prachi Kaushik is a woman of substance and how. She comes not from the city of Bombay like you and me, or Delhi, or metropolitan of India. No, no, no. She comes from Haryana. She worked up the ranks. She worked hard to prove herself. And most importantly, she worked with the rural community of India to bring health and hygiene to the women of India through sanitary napkins. It's serious work, girls. It's serious work. We urban girls probably get it easy, maybe not the rural girls so much, when it comes to sanitary hygiene. The platform is yours. I also want to hear your journey, Prachi. I'm sure all the students here want to hear your journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Reema, the director, and Dr. Jyoti, and all the co-panelists. A very wonderful in the government department, and had all the experience working with the development sector. But I decided to do something for my fellow women, not only for me, because after going through all the struggle, I won the heart of people, my family members. I was financially independent. but still I decided to quit my job and do something, which have a faster, rapid reach to the women. Because if you are prosperous, but you're suffering and your neighbors are not at a good stage, then there is a question on humanity. So I started Vyomini as Dr. Jyoti mentioned. Vyomini means divine, which is divine, and divine is something which thinks about everyone. It's not me, my, and myself. So Vyomini is formed with the vision that we will work on two verticals: women health and women on. And today also I have visited a village with the same purpose. The month I'm traveling here and there and finding my more and more fellow sisters and helping them in one way or other way. And not only that, I'm helping them, they're also helping me, learning more and reaching to the rural community. So in 2016, when I decided to do this, there was one problem I faced, that after quitting my job, I did not have any money to start with. And this did not demotivated me. This even helped me to learn that to start something, you don't need money, you need passion. And I started with Vyomini with passion, and then money follows. We decided to not only create awareness, menstrual hygiene, reproductive health, 360-degree solution on menstrual health management. This is 3 A's approach: awareness.
Let the students speak
In
more.
awareness part, we go to the village area and area and create awareness. So they realize that how important is reproductive health. And once we create this, then comes the affordability accessibility part. Affordability and accessibility part, by installing vending machine, installing the micro manufacturing unit. We provide training to the women for right from procuring raw material and how to make sanitary napkins, and also how to sell it in the market. So I call myself as a social entrepreneur now. So many such social entrepreneurs. So this is all, friends, and in this journey, many wonderful people join me. They have increased my strength, and wonderful. Thank you, Miss Reema. Over to you.
All right. So my only thing is, Prachi Kaushik, we couldn't hear you as much through the journey, but very importantly, what she says is that she met some wonderful people on her journey. Her journey wasn't easy, but she started building it together piece by piece. A little bit on Prachi, students. Prachi is a woman entrepreneur who started social enterprise Vyomini in 2017 to provide solutions for the environment and economic challenges for women. Coming from a very humble background herself, she experienced that women's health and economic empowerment are two major issues in the world in the overall development of women. She conceived the idea of Rakshak, India's first low-cost biodegradable and herbal sanitary napkins, which will not only be easily accessible, but also affordable to all the menstruating women. Currently, Rakshak is being supplied across government schools, NGOs, and self-help groups. And she has received a green signal from its comforts and affordability, almost with ease of disposal. Vyomini has been working in the field of menstrual health management since the past 2 years across Delhi, Haryana, Uttarakhand, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, Bihar, and Uttar Pradesh. She's mapped it all for you girls. She's mapped it all with the purpose to revise the problem of period poverty in both rural and urban India. Vyomini works with a three-pronged approach of awareness, affordability, and accessibility. Prachi's work has been appreciated and awarded for her by many government and non-government organizations at national and international levels, and has been judged amongst the 100 women faces of India. Prachi I can only say more power to you. More power to Vomini and more power to Rakshak. Because, yes, really, Prachi, what you're doing is not only noble, yes, but it is, yes, but it is beyond nobility. It is actually going to the grassroots and walking the talk. I know there was this lovely clip you shared with me where the pad man meets the real pad woman when Akshay Kumar met you and acknowledged your work. But you are the girl on the ground, Prachi. Yes. So, Prachi, can you hear me or is the line still unstable? Yes. Yes. Prachi, thank you. Yeah. Can you hear me, Prachi?
You?
No problem. Super. So Prachi, we like the conversation forward a little bit more, but as of now, I like to bring in my beautiful speaker, Miss Behel. Miss Behel.
Yes. Hi, Reema.
Miss,
I'm very much well.
hi. Beautiful. So wish you a very good evening, Nidika.
Thank you, and wish you the same, and wish everybody who's on this event right now online a very good evening to everyone.
So, students and my friends on the panel today, a little bit apart from a beautiful bio that I'm soon going to read, but there's something I want to tell you about Nidika. Nidika was a topper all through her academics. She was a woman up there as a star achiever in her field of academics. She studied very well at international colleges in the UK as well as the US. Her country, she excelled in finance. But there was one point in her life that probably shook her. And that was maybe not a very pleasant marital experience. Nidika decided to still continue to take control of her life. But as they say, there are moments of weakness. I think I want to give up. She contemplated suicide, but probably God didn't want her up there so fast because there was so much of beautiful work that she had to still do and do more for you, for us, for just everybody in the society as a life coach. Nidika has said to me, and I believe this, that it's not worth it to give up your life for anybody in this world. Nobody. Nidika believes that firmly. Nidika Behel, I'm not going to take too much of my time describing you. I want you to come and tell all of us a beautiful journey and what it is to be an entrepreneur par excellence. Nidika, the floor is to you.
Thank you so much, Reema. A big warm thank you to everyone, especially Shweta and Prajakta for organizing and being such lovely hosts, and of course Dr. Jyoti for inviting me. And it was lovely to know about Satish ji as well. It was amazing to hear about his qualification and his disaster management books. I gotta get my hands on some of them and read those. Coming back to my life, I just want to say that, as Reema mentioned to you, that I'm not putting on my video on purpose so that my voice is clear, because I believe there's a network challenge. If I put the video on, then the voice gets crumbled. So one of the biggest things, I come from a middle class family, and one of the things that's taught in a middle class family is padhai likhai karo and life will be sorted. I'm sure you guys have also heard it. If you've heard it, can you type yes in the chat box so that I know that you're listening to me and you're understanding what I'm talking about? So students, everyone who's on the call, if you've been told that absolutely, right, study, आपकी life sort out हो जाएगी, that's all you need. And that's exactly what I was, a very agyakari middle class child who listened to my parents and said, yes, let me study. And I was, of course, a topper throughout my schooling, throughout my college, went abroad to study, and everything was great. Got my first job in the US, was earning a lot of money in my early 20s, got married, and then reality hit home. And due to challenges in my marital relationship, life was always a bit tough. Although I continued excelling in my financial career, I worked in the corporate sector for 7 years. I was the youngest vice president of my organization, and wherever I went, I just did well for myself. But that one aspect of my life, the relationships not being right, really pulled me down. And because of that, I suffered clinical depression. I fought clinical depression for 6 years of my life. Because of the medication that I was put on, I had to give up my number crunching career completely because I could not do mental calculations, mathematical work, or very strenuous mental work for long hours. So I had to actually give up my entire career that I'd studied for my entire life, just because of this one aspect not being right in my life. And in these 6 years, I was told multiple times by my doctors that there is no way that you're going to ever go back to being normal or having a normal life, and it may take about 15 to 20 years, and that too there is no guarantee that it will happen, but definitely you'll not be the same person again. And for the first 4.5 years, I really struggled, got no response. Neither my therapy helped. I went to therapy 3 times a week. I was on medication. I was literally like a vegetable, sitting in the, just sitting by the window crying, or just sleeping all day long and not doing anything. And everything had stopped in my life. In after 4.5 years, somebody introduced me to self-help books. Okay, now being a topper, only thing I knew was academic books. Right, all I knew was पढ़ाई करना है, एग्जाम में अच्छे नंबर लाने हैं, life set हो जाएगी. Right, I'm sure you guys relate with me what I'm talking about. Somebody said आप self-help books पढ़िए. I didn't even know what is a self-help book, but because nothing was changing in my life, I said, why not let me read a book? And the first book I read gave me some little bit of hope. And in that 1 year, from the four and a half year to 5.5 years, that 1 year I read close to 300 self-help books. And that completely changed the way I started looking at life. But there was one book that really did it for me. And the book is called The Battlefield of the Mind. And it said that everything that goes on is between your 2 ears. What you're talking to yourself can impact your life. The quality of conversation you have with yourself can impact how your career is, how your life is, how your relationships is, how your health is, how your joy and happiness is. And this lady who wrote that book, her name was Joyce Meyer. I was very intrigued that I must go and Google her, find out who this woman is. So I went. In those days, YouTube was very, very new. It was a new trend. And I found a YouTube video by this woman. And when I went to that video, I was hoping that, something she might say would change my thought process. Because when you're depressed, when you're sad, you feel like you're like, why me? मेरे साथ ऐसा क्यों हुआ? किसी और के साथ हो जाता, but why me? मेरे साथ क्यों हुआ? And in that debate, you never really grow because you want to change everybody else but yourself. And this woman, when she was having this conference, one lady in the conference asked her a question. Joyce, I did everything my parents ever wanted me to do. I was the best daughter. I was the best wife. I was the best, mother to my children. Then why me? Why am I suffering? Have any of you ever thought, why is it that good people suffer? Type yes if you've ever thought that why is it I'm such a good person? Why am I suffering? Why people hurt me? Why people don't treat me right? Type yes if you've ever experienced anything that's hurt you and made you question why me. Right? Now, yes, thank you. I want you guys to communicate with me so I understand that you're understanding the key point I'm trying to make. When this lady asked this question, this is what Joyce Meyer said to her. She said 6 words that completely changed my life. She said, "You hurt, you heal, and you help." And she said to her that you're the chosen one. You see, God always knew that you have the potential. God always knew that you're resilient enough not to give up and you are going to fight this out. And God knows that when you fight it out, you heal yourself, you're hurt, you heal yourself, and then you're going to help other people. And so those 6 words, that one statement out of Joyce's mouth completely changed the mental switch in my mind. So the self-talk changed. Suddenly, I was no longer the victim. I wanted to be the protagonist in my story. I wanted to go out and use my experience to help other people. And that's when the journey of becoming a life coach started. It was very hard, starting a career again, a new career in my late 30s, very, very hard. But I knew that I had to go back to school and get educated because my formal education in finance did not prepare me to be a life coach. So I went all across the globe, learning from the masters, whether it is about healing, about life coaching, about business coaching, you name it, whether it's NLP, theta healing, what is batch flowers, what is Akashic, went all over the world learning from the masters to understand what works, how, and when. And then I took on 1,000 clients pro bono, free of charge, to understand, can I really deliver before I start charging people? Because again, if you ask me anything in finance, I know how to deliver and I will give you a fair price. But at that time, if you ask me, if somebody walked into my door and said, can you help me fix my life? I wasn't sure if I could. So I wanted to do it pro bono. And after these 1,000 clients that I met, I started charging, and that's where the journey started from 2017 to 2020. There is not a single publication that I've not been featured on or talked about, and most people refer to me as a single session miracle because I can help people life in a single session, but it took a lot of hard work. Now, what's the message that I want to give you with this story is not that Nidika is so good. Well, the message I want to give you is you need to know when you're in college that how are you going to balance your wheel of life. Your life, it has a spiritual aspect, as Dr. Jyoti is so passionate about. It has, it has your monetary aspect. It has your social relationships aspect. It has your intimate relationships aspect. It has aspect. Usually, when we are in school and college, we tend to focus only on our career aspect and we forget about the others, hoping that they will fall in place. But think about it. You spend 15, 16 years of education trying to get one aspect of your life right. Do you think it's so easy to get everything else automatically right? Do you think so? Not at all, right? So it's very important that when you're in college, give a thought as to what kind of a life do you want for yourself. In the next 10 years or 20 years, what is your life going to look like? And then you make your choices today based on what you want 20 years from now. Choices in the areas of health. If you want to be somebody who's fit at 40, you got to start when you're 20. If you want somebody who wants great relationships, you got to know what kind of a person you are, and therefore what kind of a partner are you looking for. So it's very important that every single thing of your life is balanced, and that's how you create real joy and success in your life. Success is not just about making money. Entrepreneurship is not just about making money. It's about work-life balance also. And balancing the wheel of life is the most critical aspect that can create real joy in your life. I could go on, Reema, but I think I'm going to stop here so that I can give other people a chance to speak, and we'll share more during the panel discussion.
Absolutely. Nidika, though I would love you to give us a little more insights on that critical fight that you took from being suicidal to being sensational girl. Hats off to you. It's a tough journey, but it's so important for us and all of us to get that strength out there that, guys, there is that tipping point, and that's when you take control of your life. You've said it so beautifully. And most importantly, students, she gave you a very, very important message. She said, what is important is mental health. COVID had to do this to us. COVID had to tell us what life is really, because we were all in our crazy rat race. We all were wondering where we were going, and then finally locked down. We all paused, we all thought, and we said, oh my God, what's happening here? No friends, we are back with our parents, we're having conversations, and then a person at 45 like me really told myself, pick up your socks and get back to your health. Physical, mental, emotional health. And extremely critical. Very importantly, what Nidika brought out. So students, mental health, extremely important, very critical. And she also gave you the word resilience. Highly important, the word resilience. Don't buckle in. Don't buckle under pressure. It's not worth it. And why do I say this? There is this lovely lady, Lyrica Garwal, who at 22 decided to be an entrepreneur. You think she didn't buckle under pressure? You think she never ever got the opportunity to say, hey, I want to give up? I'm sure she did. But what kept her going is what we're going to listen from her. But before that, Prajakta or Shweta, can I please have the slide of Ms. Becca back? Because it's important for me to read to you what an accomplished, beautiful lady Behel is. Is it possible for me to get that? This is wonderful. So, my fellow panelists, my fellow attendees and students, Ritika Behel is an international best-selling author, leading success coach, holistic healer, mental switch specialist. This is very interesting. She's a mental switch specialist, blogger, coaching counselor, and the co-founder of the Indian Women's Club, recipient of more than 20 national and international awards in the field of coaching, facilitation training, and women empowerment. Nidika is also the talk show host of a popular web series called India's Biggest Comebacks and Invincible by Nidika Bhatt. What more than a woman like her to actually speak of comebacks and invincibleness? Beautiful, Nidika. By qualification, Nidika is a certified coach, teacher, and speaker with the John Maxwell team, an internationally certified success coach, master spirit life coach, theta healing practitioner, access bars facilitator, clearing practitioner, Lama Thera practitioner, Bach flower practitioner, Akshaya records, advanced practitioner, international certified master facilitator, NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming master practitioner, certified Ho'oponopono practitioner, and a transformational coach. I don't know about the others, but I'm so grateful to have met you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Reema. You're wonderful. Thank you, darling.
Lyric, we are literally on your case. I want to learn so much from you, Lyric. The energy that you have, the energy that you display. I could never be a girl like you. So gusty with marketing. I was always editorial, wrote content, was in the knowledge space, but you were out there telling people, stand up and market yourself. Lyric, please can you tell all our students what it is to be the entrepreneur that you have been?
Definitely. Thank you so much, Ms. Reema. And thank you, Vivekananda Education Society, FMB Cell, for inviting me to speak today. Honestly, I'm so delighted to be here, and I also want to thank Dipesh and Anmol, because I think they were people who thought of me as somebody who could definitely add value on this platform. So thank you so much, and thank you, Dr. Jyoti Chandwani, for coordinating over the last couple of days. And I hope that I really aspire all the leaders and budding entrepreneurs, especially women who are present today in their journey, to create something really substantial. Before I start with talking a little bit about my experience, I think it's important for you guys to know a little bit about my background. So in India, usually when you see a lot of entrepreneurs, you see people who probably come from a family of businesses, or you see people who have learned a lot about businesses from their parents. But for me, it was very different. I come from a typical middle class family. I've seen both my parents doing a job. My dad used to work. He was a government servant. My mom was a banker. So growing up in a family where I've seen only people being employed, I think I was conditioned to believe that if I have to create something substantial for myself, I have to invest more and more time in my education, and eventually I have to take up a job. And this is how my mentality was at the beginning when I first started. But I've also seen my mom, literally taking care of 3 children growing up, because my dad has always been away. Being a government servant, he was transferred to various places in India. So for me, honestly, when I've seen my mom, she was my big inspiration. I've seen her make, ends meet, right? I have seen her compromising a lot on her personal needs to ensure that we get educated and we have a great future. And that was a turning point for me, because that's when I realized that okay, I need to do something. Wherein I don't have to think about money. I don't have to think about can I afford to get this or can I not afford to get that. And when I completed my education, being a science student and then getting into marketing and business management, it was a big transition. It's like changing my entire DNA. I don't know how many of you all can relate to this, but a lot of people, before they dive into entrepreneurship, they always have these thoughts that I don't have a lot of experience in this. I don't know if I can actually find enough success in being an entrepreneur. How many of you all have thought like that? I think we can use that. It will be wonderful if people can put the videos on. And I know that people are at home right now, so don't worry, I'm not going to judge you, right? I understand that, but it would be lovely if I can see people as well who I'm interacting, all the students, in fact, right? So if you all can actually put your videos on, or if you can put in the chat box, would be lovely. And I'm sure a lot of people on this call would have had those thoughts. How many of you all felt that way? Like you can probably raise your hand, or you can probably raise your hand in the chat box that I don't have enough experience in handling a team, or I don't have enough experience in running, probably haven't seen anybody run a business. So I don't know how successful I'm going to be in running a business, right? So for me, when I look at my journey over the last 6 years, 7 years, and I've worked with a lot of young girls and women in my organization, and to be very honest, I've seen them not being very confident about their leadership skills. And the time when I started my business, I think my purpose changed a lot. Initially, it was more about taking care of myself and my family and ensuring that I'm more financially independent. But over the first 1 year, 2 year, when I started working with my team, especially with women, and I saw them being so underconfident about themselves, especially when they looked around, because they were like two people standing in a room filled with 100 boys. And that was the same thing for me. When I started my journey at 21, 22, when I was introduced to the business, and when I was introduced to my investors, they were all males. My investor, was someone obviously who had a lot of experience, but I'm actually trained by all male entrepreneurs. And I was present in a room filled with 100 entrepreneurs, out of which I was the only lady entrepreneur in the room. So it was quite daunting at a point. And it did make me doubt myself that will I ever be able to see myself in that position where my investors are today, or where my the seniors are today, right? And I think that was the time for me. That was the point where I actually decided that, okay, I need to change my vocabulary, the way how I look at entrepreneurship. And I know I'm probably deviating a little bit from the main pedagogy of this conference, which is women entrepreneurship. But I think we need to change that vocabulary itself. I don't think entrepreneurship is about being, men or women. I think entrepreneurship is being an entrepreneur. And business doesn't look at you whether it's a female running the business or whether it's male running the business. The business does just only know that there's somebody who's driving it. That's about it. There's no such thing as women entrepreneurs or male entrepreneurs or female entrepreneurs. The day I stopped looking at myself as a female entrepreneur is the day I actually started feeling more empowered. And that was the day when I actually started empowering more women around me, because they never looked at me as a female entrepreneur. Till date, I've not been called she's a women entrepreneur. I've just been called as an entrepreneur, just like any other entrepreneurs, in our country or in the world, right? So when presently, when I look at the role of modern women, and I think, it was spoken about that, how it is not restricted to this traditional role. And I think everybody needs to understand that now women are not only taking care of the family members. I think the role has changed dynamically. Women are now who are very inspired, and now women have such inventive ideas that they're coming forward with, that they can even start these small and medium-sized businesses that they can operate from their home, and they can also fulfill their household obligation as well in a very, very smooth way. So if you look at today's women, they are taking more and more, challenging roles, right? And they are flourishing in every sector. In fact, nowadays the glass ceilings are being shattered, and women are found indulged in every line of businesses. Earlier, it used to be like, okay, women can either be into decorators or they could be designers. But now you can see them indulging in every line of business. Like, I come from a sales and marketing background, right? And earlier there was a stereotype. The moment I would say that I was into sales, they would go like, okay, but do you sell yourself? And when I used to look around, they're like, it's a business. Like, sales is only for men. Only they can do it. Only they can move around. They can travel. They can meet their clients. They can negotiate. They never looked at a woman, doing sales. It was such a stereotype, and I had to break that stereotype. I've built my entire business around marketing and sales. I've sold the products myself. I've personally stepped out on the field and test marketed all the products that I currently work with. Right, and I take immense pride in it. I've built my entire team around that. I think that's where my leadership skills have come through. So there's no doubt that women of today are smashing all the old stereotypes, and they are building their own identity. In an otherwise this male-dominated corporate world that we live in. But the sad part is, guys, that even today there are only 14% of the total entrepreneurship in India are owned by women. So there's still a long way to go. And recently, I actually attended I don't know if I have enough time, but I would like to share something. I attended a women's event that was focused on small-time businesses, and one of the topics that arose was that why women fail in businesses. And now we all know that there are different reasons why businesses fail, right? But I was really intrigued by the notion of why women fail in businesses, as that was an indication that there are certain elements that are unique to our gender that lead to this perceived failure. And from my observation and my personal experience, I think there are a lot of reasons, but one of the major reasons is, and probably you would want to write it down, is lack of self-belief. I think that was one of the major reasons why women fail, is because that they lack that belief, and this results in them doubting their worth and their expertise. And the result and the consequences of this is that when we start doubting ourselves, we start undercharging our services. I hope everybody understands, especially all the women. So I think it's very, very important that, and this is something I was talking to my team the other day, that there's difference. So there's one thing called as you being, there's humility, but humility is not shyness. That's not timidity, right? You need to stand by your success and let people around you also recognize it. But it's only doable when you believe in yourself and your own success. So owning your success, right, as a woman, right, is so important, right? Because remember, right, what's going to motivate people around you, right, is the fact that when they see you believing in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, how do you expect people around you to believe in yourself? So I think this is one of the major reasons. I think if we just start believing ourselves, I think we're going to change a lot of barriers that we create. And 90% of these barriers that we create are more internal than external. They're more internal. I think the moment you start changing your thoughts, your perspectives about the way how you look at entrepreneurship, I think you will see a change in the way how people view you, the way how they perceive you. So I hope it really helps. And if anybody has questions, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. Thank you so much. And thank you, Ms. Seema.
Yes. So, students, Lyric said something very critical to you all. As every speaker today gives you a strong message, and I hope students all are able to pick these messages that these experts are giving you. Can you just put it into your chat whether I'm audible, guys? Just if you can say yes to me, whether I'm audible. Okay, great. So she said something important. She said, believe in yourself and own your success, and don't undersell yourself. And everything is quite internal. So she's not saying it's a woman's world or a man's world. It's clearly an entrepreneur. So it's not a man with a woman, but it's the fact that as women, please go ahead and believe in yourself. What a strong message the Lyric is bringing to the table. And so important. I believe that as well. Sometimes my journey as an entrepreneur, I always feel funny for students, which I know what Lyric is saying. I can feel what she's saying. We are exactly 5 o'clock. All right. No, I just wanted to make one very clear point that Lyric sent a very important message of, believing in yourself and having that self-belief. And we now finish our 1 hour of discussion. And I think we now need to open up audience questions, because it'll be very nice to have a participant. So students, you have a very, very august panel here. Who walk the talk. So if you have any message that you want from them, if you want to play guys, this is your turn. So Laura have an interesting question comes to me. And this is from a student named. We finished a very high power 1 hour of real intense knowledge. If you get it, students, it was super intense knowledge coming to you from women who walk the talk literally. Now the platform is for you to open up, for you to speak what you feel is your apprehensions. There are these beautiful women who are here to listen to you, to guide you. So I have a question coming from Mr. Dipesh, a student named Mr. Dipesh. who says that women are known to be high on the emotional quotient. Is what you want to say, Dipesh? Dipesh, do you want to just release your microphone?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, I wanted to ask, like, women's, I want to have, better understanding of, emotions. And while being an entrepreneur, did it happen that it became a hindrance in your career?
Whether emotions play a hindrance in your career is what the question is.
Yes, 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 ma'am.
All right. Do you want to direct that question to a panelist?
Ma'am, it's open for all. All are the amazing people. So anyone.
All right. So, at this stage, I will take the, I would request both Miss Lyric and Miss Nidika to take this question because the emotional journey is very in-depth journey. Lyric, can you take this question for this student, please?
Yes, I would love to. I think it's a beautiful question because this is something. So definitely, I think there's a difference between being emotional and being rational. When I first started my first initial few years, definitely I would say that it did act as an hindrance. I'll not deny that. Because a lot of times there were things that were told to me where the intent was very different, but the way how I actually took those decisions that were made towards me were very impractical. So I took those things very personally, and that led to a lot of emotional decisions that were definitely not right for my business. And over the time, when I started looking at the business from a very broader segment, I think I realized that, okay, you know what, that I need to be a lot more practical. I need to take more decisions which are based on numbers and stats and figures, rather than getting emotional about, okay, why was this told to me or why was this said to me. And I think this is not something that only women goes through. I think a lot of people do respond to a situation like this, especially when people are being critical. As soon as you are criticized for something, we end up taking those criticism very, very personally. And sometimes it's important to accept those criticisms. And I think it's important to learn, especially if it's coming in from someone who's more experienced and someone who has a vested interest in you. So definitely, emotional aspect in terms of me understanding my people. Yes, I did empathize, but I didn't go to an extent where I started sympathizing my people. But yes, definitely, it did act as a hindrance, and I've learned to work on it with experience and with time. So I hope that answers your question.
What
this question was that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, the pace.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, great. Nidika, do you have a perspective?
So, I think so. I think the question, if you read, is actually, as we know, women generally have a deeper understanding of emotions. Did this understanding ever become a hindrance in your life? So the question based on women having deeper understanding of emotions, yes, women do have deeper understanding of emotions. That's generally the case. But they also have very complicated thinking, which is what Lyric touched upon. But to say the least, does it become a hindrance in your life? I don't think so, because having emotional intelligence is one of the skills which is very essential to success in today's world. In fact, the way the things are changing, we have become very high tech, and we're no longer a high touch business environment. We're very, very high tech, and having emotional intelligence and seeing through what people are saying and what they're really meaning to say and how they're feeling, understanding their body language, understanding how to lead them. It's all part of emotional intelligence, and it's very important to learn that. It's a learnable skill. So whether women have a better start than men can also learn emotional intelligence. It's very important to learn it because it's very, very, very relevant skill to have in today's day and time to take your career to the next level.
So, so she clearly suggests that EI, more than just IQ, is something that is so critical in today's world. And she couldn't be wrong, because the post-COVID world has shown us how important our EI and our mental strength is all about. And this
yes,
is
and
yes.
Reema, sorry. Since you said EI and more than IQ, I also want to add adaptability quotient. When we speak about resilience, how quickly can you adapt to a changing environment is very important. And I'm sure all students have gone through it. Suddenly there was college, which was all fun, and you get to meet your friends, and probably you come to lectures not so much because you enjoy the lectures, but you come to college so much because you want to meet your friends and hang around in the canteen. But now everything is at home, and you're having your classes on Zoom. So it's very, very different environment. And again, adapting to that environment, I'm sure a lot of children go through it. And Reema, you also mentioned yesterday, how your elder daughter who's in the grade 10th is having a challenge with, like I'm missing my prom party, I'm missing my adventure sports, and I'm missing things that I could do other than just studying at school. But it is adaptability, right? If she doesn't adapt to the environment, she can go into depression. So adaptability is also equally important as much as EI and as much as IQ.
So true. So true. It's all about, as we say, like the chameleon, you have to feel the environment and live with it. You have to kind of be a part of the whole experience. And people who took COVID in the right way are the ones who survived mentally. I'm not talking about the physical survival, but the mental survival, which is so critical. Dipesh, there is one thing I want to mention to you. Of course, you are the male gender, but irrespective, I want to tell the girls out there about the emotional quotient here. First and foremost, as a career woman and as a mother, let me be honest, every career woman who is a mother has this crazy guilt within her. This crazy emotional guilt that she goes through, and the society is another ball game altogether. Okay, a career woman is a woman who really doesn't care for her kids and all sorts of things. Happens. But you want to take it in the right way, how resilient you want to be, and how you want to guard yourself and have your inner compass talking to you, I think is very important. I'll be lying if I didn't go through that guilt in the initial parts of my career. I was a crazy mother. And trust me, if not for my mom-in-law who told me just what's wrong with you, I would call up like, how's the baby doing? And, I would panic. And then I said, what am I doing to myself? I was losing control emotionally as a mother. So I took hold of myself. Let me be honest. I said to myself, if you want to go into this guilt trip, quit your job. But if you want to balance it right. As they say, Santulan. If you can do it, please work on it. It's worth it. It's not necessary to give up your career to be a beautiful mother. Today I sit very proud of the 20 years of a non-stop career. I feel good when I look back. Of course, I had beautiful people supporting my life. And I was not guilty to take that support. When my mom-in-law helped me in my journey, when my partner helped me in my journey, when my older daughter became so mature and sensible and responsible, helped me in my journey when my second one was born, it's all a part of the whole journey, friends. All right? So please keep the guilt away if you can. Don't be the stupid me that I was when I started off. And, it's all a part of a beautiful experience. We move on to our next question, which is also very, very sensitive and an interesting question. Can you elaborate on where you think this lack of self-confidence is coming from, and how can women try to overcome this lack of self-confidence? Oh, it's a heavy one. I do feel sometimes women lack self-confidence. Nidika, Lyric, who can we please help the students on the issue of self-confidence in Untitled Chapter?
Yes, I think the question is addressed for Lyric, so let her handle it first.
Sure.
Okay. So I think the answer to your question would be, I think it's number one is lack of individual reflection. So when you ask me, when I work with a lot of women leaders in my organization, they often compare themselves to others in one or two ways, right? Either they feel bad about themselves because someone is doing better than them, or sometimes they even get arrogant because they are doing better than someone else. And I think that it's terrible and something that I'm actively trying to break free from, because we never know the individual journey and the struggle that other people have been. Therefore, it's very important that we should never compare ourselves with them. That's number one. So I think it's very, very important for you to reflect on yourself and what your purpose and your vision of your life is, because everybody has a different journey. Probably what you want to achieve, it has got nothing to do with people around you. And because especially social media, like everything is what you see on social media is that how people are leading great lives and people are traveling and people are doing this and they're making money, and we are made to believe that that's reality. And when we don't see our lives to on the same channel, we start comparing ourselves with them. But let's be honest, right? I think this question has come up with from, sorry, what's your good name? Anjali, right? Anjali Nair.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
Anjali, let me ask you, Anjali, right? So do you believe that, Anjali, that what you see on social media is 100% true? Do you think that's the reality? Nobody is going to post about that, how they're struggling and how the businesses has been shut down, or how they are going through troubled waters and the relationships. Everybody is just going to talk about that, how they're leading a great life. Think about it, right? Whatever you see on social media is that how everybody is leading a great life and how they're traveling and they are partying and they are, spending good time with the family and the friends. And what happens is when you look at all of that, you believe that that's the reality, and then you start comparing yourselves with them. I think that's one of the major reasons why you start lacking confidence in yourself, because you're looking around and you're looking at other people being more successful. And I think it's important that you really cherish your journey and embrace your journey. See, when I started, I knew that it's going to take me some time because I didn't come from a business family. I didn't have the DNA. I had to go through the whole transition. I had to change my entire DNA from being an employee to be an entrepreneur. Can you imagine changing every DNA of my body? So I knew that it's going to take me some time. But in that process, I didn't compare myself with my friends and people around me who were probably more successful. And I was happy for them. I was happy that they found success earlier. But I did make the mistake to compare myself initially, and that resulted in me doubting myself and my potential. So I think the answer to your question would be that embrace your journey, embrace who you are, and acceptance. Accept where you are today, and tell yourself, okay, this is the life that I want 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and park your vision on that. And whenever you get derailed, wear those blinders. You've seen those horses, they wear those blinders so that they don't get distracted. Anjali, have you seen them?
Yes, ma'am.
Likewise, you want to wear those blinders and stop looking around who's doing what, and you want to focus on your goals. What do you want to achieve in life? Probably your purpose and your definition of success is very different than the way how other people around you would define success. I hope you understand. See, everybody runs business for a different reason. Not everybody's intent to run a business is to make money.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I'm definitely one of those people. I didn't start a business to make money. I would be happy living in a small house and being with my loved ones around. And I think till the time I can do things and make them happy, I would be happy. But for me to start a business was not to just make money, was because it comes with obviously a lot of privileges. But as I said, that you need to define your purpose. Why would you wish to be an entrepreneur? What is your purpose in life? Why entrepreneurship means so much to you? And as soon as you can define that, trust me, your life will be much easier after that. All right, Anjali? So I hope that answers your question. All right.
So, Reema, can I add to something that Lyric said?
I think she's on mute.
Yeah, definitely, Nidika. Please go on.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, dear. So, Anjali, just to answer your question, sweetheart, the problem with any kind of negative thinking or negative emotion, the start is only two emotions: the feeling of inferiority and the feeling of insecurity. Okay, anytime a person feels inferior or feel insecure, the negative emotion starts. Of course, it can take many forms, right? The second thing is that all your thoughts are going to lead to how you feel, and therefore how you act, and therefore your results in life. So it's very important how the thoughts happen in your mind. Now again, a lack of self confidence is nothing but a self talk gone negative, right? Where you've told yourself that something is wrong with me. Either I'm feeling insecure because something is wrong with me, or I'm feeling inferior because something is wrong with me. Now where does this all start? It starts from the very young age. Of course, you asked the question, does the conditioning impact it? 101%. How you're brought up and how you've experienced life in your early years definitely has an impact. But most importantly, I like to quote from a book. There's a book called What You Say to Yourself. When what do you say when you talk to yourself, by Dr. Shad Hemstetter. And in this book, he mentions that a child from the ages of 0 to 18 hears the word no 1,18,000 times. Okay? No, ये मत करो, वो मत करो, ऐसे मत करो, वैसे मत करो, देखो बेटा क्या कर रहे हो तुम, नहीं नहीं तुम मत करो. I'm sure you have all heard as children being told like that, right? No, 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 tumse nahi hoga, right? So we hear the word no 1,18,000 times. Compared to the word yes, only 5,000 times. That means our brain is trained to look at things negatively. So our first response to any situation, anything that happens in our life is a negative response. Okay, so how do you shift that to positive, which was your question? How do I change it? Two things you can do. Number one is a regular gratitude exercise, appreciating yourself on a daily basis. Every day, of course, you should do gratitude to appreciate other people in your life. But the first relationship you have in your life, which is the most important relationship, is your own relationship with yourself. So doing a gratitude exercise every day, writing about 20 qualities that you admire about yourself can help you feel better about yourself, can give you more confidence. And the second thing you want to do is every win that you have, celebrate it. Somehow we are brought up to believe that only big things need to be celebrated. अगर एक बच्चा subjects में exam देता है, which I'm sure you guys have all experienced, I have experienced. If I have 5 subjects and I do extremely well in 4 subjects, but I, let's say, do really bad in maths, okay? My parents are going to ask me, maths में क्या हुआ बेटा? पढ़ाई नहीं की थी? They are not going to tell me my 4 subjects that are so good. Why? Because it brings down the average. So even in our environment, we are forced to look at things which has gone wrong rather than appreciate the things that have gone right. So you have to retrain your brain to start looking at things in a positive way, and therefore celebrating your smallest of wins is very, very important, literally on a daily basis. I mean, I even go out to say that if you are driving on the road and you get all green signals, say, wow, that's my win for the day. I got all green signals. I went there and I found a parking. Amazing. So every time you're celebrating something about yourself, about your experience in life, and you're saying thank you to yourself, you are building your self-confidence. So that's all I wanted to add to what Lyric already mentioned.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Got it.
So students, if you get what's happening here in this last 1.5 hours, 1 hour, 20 minutes, actually is a lot of just not gyan, guys. This is not gyan happening. This is transformation happening. Think about it. Tonight when you get back, we can't say home because I know you all are at home, but we'd get you into your little silos, to your little comfort zones. Think what just happened in this 1 hour with you. There is so much of transformation happening here. She said something lovely. She said, insecurity is something that brings you down, and how? And something that breaks you down can break that self-confidence. What she said is, which I do for myself, is positive self-talk. It's a miracle medicine. Tell yourself every night, I'm beautiful. Even if you have like 5 pimples popping up on your face, say, I'm beautiful, because there is maybe the 6th pimple didn't come. As she said, the green lights. The green lights is the green signal to the word go. That's wonderful. And clearly what Lyric says, yeah? Lyric was like totally in the zone of saying, come on, pick yourself up, embrace that journey, forget all that is negative in your life, and there is so much to celebrate about. And she told you this very clear message that nothing is coming easy. It didn't come easy to her. She had to work up the ranks to do what she did. And that's that is coming through every conversation. Students, please make a note on it. Please have a paper and pen next to you and jot down the books that they are recommending to you, the little words that they are mentioning to you. These are pearls of wisdom. As we move on, as we take on our journey, one step at a time, Lyric also said to you, do not believe the damn social media. Likes, hey, this one didn't like my post. Oh, It's all right. It's all right. It's a properly an artificial world out there. Don't get affected by it. It's not worth it because social media anxiety disorder is a problem. And you students can nip it in the bud when it comes to your lives. Lyric, check me if I'm wrong.
I totally agree with you, Ms. Mreema.
Beautiful. So, there's another interesting question that's coming up. Would love to know POV as well. Nidika, this question is to you. They want to know what's POV.
No, she just meant would like to know your point of view as well, which I already said.
Okay, so brilliant. Because I don't want to miss out any student's question, which I thought. So have we answered that for her, please? For Miss Anji?
Yes, I just did.
Beautiful, beautiful. There's a question that's coming from Bhavna Raina. Bhavna wants to know, you have been a good entrepreneur. You have faced this any kind of unconscious bias and been in this field for such a long time. Do you think it's decreasing or just the same over the years? I think she's talking about Bhavna. If you can unmute yourself, Ms. Bhavna Raina. If you can unmute yourself. Just one question. Are you hitting a gender bias here?
Yeah,
Bhavna?
even Professor Bhavna is my colleague. She's teaching she's an HR.
Oh, sorry. I thought she was a student. Bhavna ma'am, good evening to you.
Yeah, hi. Good evening.
Hi, Bhavna ma'am. Good evening to you. My question is, are you touching upon the concept of gender bias?
Yeah, I am. I mean, it's pretty. I quite often see it. I mean, I just want to know, is it still there in corporate where or is it still the same where when I was in corporate that you're doing as good as your colleague, or you're doing as good as somebody else, or you're being as productive as somebody else, some male other colleague, and is it still there in corporate, or has it changed over the years?
Sure. I think this question needs to go to Lyric. Lyric, can you take this? It's beautiful about gender bias. Have we lost Lyric somewhere?
Yes, I'm there. Right, so I think the question is that whether the gender bias role still exists in the society. Is that your question?
Yes, she wants
to know. I mean, I don't mean that obvious gender bias. It's just so it's unconscious. We don't even realize that we are biased. It just is things that we have grown up with. Is it still inherently deep in corporate that it used to be, or it's changed over the years?
I think it has changed a lot because, Ms. Bhavna, now I work with a lot of millennials, and the way how millennials, I'm talking about the echo boomers, right? Millennials, the way how they look at entrepreneurship and the way how they look at, business altogether, it's very different the way how people looked at it earlier, maybe 10 years back or 20 years back. So it has changed a lot. When I sit for my board meetings now, when we have the whole panel and there's a discussion going on, I think I don't see these guys looking at the people as, okay, she is a women entrepreneur or she is a male entrepreneur, and probably her perspective on this topic is not going to be very relevant, or probably his perspective is going to. I think everybody has everybody's views are equally respected. And I definitely think it has changed a lot because now we have influx of a lot of younger people joining, this cell, and definitely I think because of that, the mindset has changed. So I would say that definitely it has changed a lot. It is not the same, probably the way how it used to be earlier. So I hope, I don't know if that answers your question, but
yeah. Thanks, Lyric. I hope it's good for us.
Bhavna ma'am, I would like to add a certain aspect here. Last month, I conducted a panel discussion for the Armed Forces of India. Right, I have the army officers with me on my panel, and army officer told me one thing very clearly, that in the Armed Forces of India, Army, Navy, Air, the uniform does not recognize man or woman. The uniform only recognizes the soldier out there. So, it was so powerful what she said. She said when she fought the Kargil War, she is Rishika Tyagi, Captain Rishika Tyagi. When she fought the Kargil War, though of course women didn't get the front postings, but she was holding her baby. She was 5 months pregnant when she was at Kargil. And that time she said, my uniform did not know I'm a woman or a pregnant mother. Uniform only, I was a soldier. So, I think this concept of having this kind of a spirit coming into our corporate boardrooms. Literally, she said from the boardroom to the battlefield, or the battlefield to the boardroom. She's saying it's the same thing. The way she expressed herself was very powerful. So I think sometimes, as Lorraine also said, we are all changing. Somewhere there is this happening, and a very positive change. That women are a force to be reckoned with, and that's something that is not going to go away in the next many years to come.
Thank you so much. That's good. I think that's fantastic for our students.
Yes. I mean, that was a very powerful talk I had with the army officer. So that's next for the next time.
That's actually a beautiful example.
No, it's a fact. It was a very powerful panel.
It's a beautiful example. And I would like to add another point. Now, even with the advent of media, I think women are more aware of their rights and also the work situation.
Yes.
So I think it's all about, standing, on your, your perspective and, holding that perspective. I think that's very, very important. And not being submissive. Yes. I think this is something that as women, we need to change. I think as soon as we stop being submissive, people will start taking us a lot more seriously. But the moment we become submissive, I think that's the time we start, being taken for granted. But I think it's very important to be aware of our rights and our traits.
Yes. So, and you said something very important, Lyric. Use the word submissive. I keep telling this. Somewhere in my conversations, I tell this to my daughters as well. There is a thin line that differentiates between being humble and being submissive.
Yeah.
The moment you realize you are doing things in humility as a humble girl, it's okay. The moment you start being submissive, you are treated as a doormat. So the choice is yours. How far you pushed to be treated as a doormat. So girls out there, tomorrow you are going to be business leaders of the future. I see untraditional participants, boys, girls, irrespective. You are business leaders of the future. Remember one thing, as I keep saying this, respect yourself. The moment if you don't respect yourself, your boss is not going to respect you. If you have a problem, speak up. If you have something, if you have an issue, tell them, this is my problem, can you please understand? But if you're going to sit in your silos and, be the martyred or be the one who is being battered, it's not going to work, guys, right? So, just hold in there, just hang in there and just go and achieve your goals. My next question is coming through. I don't know whether we have Ms. Prachi Kaushik with us, because it's a very interesting question for Prachi. And she sent me a message on a private chat that her network is bad from UP to Delhi and she is not on conversation. So this question was by Ms. Sania Khan. Ms. Sania Khan wants to ask Ms. Prachi, what are the challenges that she faced when she introduced Rakshak? How I wish, Ms. Sania, I could bring this question out to you, because Prachi, I don't think is in conversation. Do you think Ms. Shweta and Ms. Prajakta, as students, you would see Ms. Prachi in our conversation, please? Is she there with us? Ms. Shweta and Ms. Prajakta, do you think?
No, ma'am, she is not there. She's not.
She's not.
No, ma'am, can't see her.
Not a problem. So I think we can address this question a bit later offline, and I'm sure she will give the answer to your respected organization, to your respected educational institution. All right. The next question, actually, Dipesh, you're asking is, a question which is very open. How do you define? The question is, what are the common challenges or the barriers that comes for an entrepreneur who comes from a middle class family? Nidika, you want to address this?
Sure.
Face a barrier.
Yes, sure. I think one of the biggest challenges is that I don't know if you've read this book by Robert T. Kiyosaki called The Cash Flow Quadrant. And I think anybody who is wanting to become an entrepreneur, that is one book you must read before you even, two books actually by him, Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert T. Kiyosaki, essential. Why? Because a middle class family is typically someone who is brought up, they say that there are four ways of making money. You can make money as an employee, you can make money as a self-employed, you can make money as a business owner, or you can make money as an investor. Now, there is a huge difference between a self-employed and a business owner. A lot of self-employed entrepreneurs think that they're entrepreneurs, but they're actually not. A self-employed person is someone who, gives up their time to make money, and of course takes some business risks, so gets more money than probably an employee. But a business owner is someone, if that person can leave their business and go away for 6 months to a year, the business either grows or stays the way it is. Why? Because they are able to build business systems that function whether or not they are physically present. Now, a big challenge for a middle class family, person who's coming from a middle class family, is they try to build a business with an employee mentality. So they'll not invest the money where it's required to be invested. Or they will try to build a business, but then they want that, their priority is freedom and security. So they still remain on the left side and they try to build a business from a self-employed perspective, not necessarily from a business owner's perspective. So it's very important to understand what kind of a mindset is required to build the business from an ENS quadrant versus a BNI quadrant. And that is something that you'll need to educate yourself on. It's very essential because, again, while growing up, we've heard things like money doesn't grow on trees, investments are risky, or, I don't know, maybe some other money things that you may have heard. If you can put in the chat box, you guys, I'm sure you've heard things, paise ped pe nahi ugte. I'm sure you must have heard that. It's not easy to make money. The people who are rich are not necessarily nice people. A lot of people, don't pay taxes and that's how they get rich. A lot of a lot of opinions are there, which are not necessarily facts. So it's very important that you clear those opinions from your mind, because that is going to dictate how you're going to function in the entrepreneurial world. So once you've cleared that and you work based on facts, that's how you can build a good business, even despite whatever may be your background. But you need that mindset. Education is very important.
That is so wonderfully said, Dipesh. Do you want to make notes of these lovely books that she's mentioned?
Yes, ma'am. They are quite kind of few of my favorite books. Like I've read them.
Oh, they are? That's amazing,
Yeah.
Dipesh. Do you want?
Yeah.
So have you already read both the books?
Ma'am, I have completed Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I'm almost completing the Cash Flow Quadrant.
That's amazing. So you know what I'm talking about, right? Like you can ask me something specific if you want to.
Look, ma'am. So can we say that the barrier, basic barrier, is the financial literacy in our country?
Absolutely right. Financial literacy, understanding, that your house, for example, which is on a mortgage, is not an asset. Most people don't even understand that basics, right? When you look at when you talk about your real estate, is it really yours, right? So again, understanding the money aspect, financial literacy is so important if you ever want to become financially rich and free, right? A lot of us are working hard for money, but the money is not working for us. So it's the journey between, it's the bridge, you understand now, so I'm going to talk very technical language. It's the bridge you're making from the ENS quadrant to the BNI quadrant, and that requires a mindset shift because you belong to an environment of people who don't understand how this works. So their guidance to you, according to them, in your best interest, may not be the best advice.
Yes, ma'am.
You understand, right?
Yes.
Yes. So that's what you need to bridge. With education, by taking workshops, seminars, understanding how the investment world works, understand how money works, how do you look at assets, how do you look at liabilities, all of those numbers you'll have to understand. The language of big money or capitalism, that's how they say it, yeah, in the book.
Sure, ma'am.
So this is exactly what you guys in the business school need. What she just mentioned it. She just mentioned these pearls of wisdom once again. It's been so amazing. I mean, when I think of it, what your organization, your education institution has done for you today is probably a gift of life. I personally feel. So cherish the students, genuinely just value these conversations. There's another interesting aspect, and I'm very surprised it's come so late, but this is normally a question that's hitting most of us, is by Anmol Pandey. Anmol Pandey, are you around, please? If you can unmute yourself and say hello.
Hello.
Anmol?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, great. So brilliant. So Anmol has a question, and I think that should obviously go to Lyric, where he says, can you please help me define...
Not help me.
Yeah,
any of the failures.
I got you, Anmol. And he wants to know, Lyric, what are the moments of failures that you faced, and how did you pick up the strings and move on from those failures of life during your entrepreneurial journey? Lyric, if you can answer this, please. Hi. So, is Lyric around with us? Have we lost Lyric somewhere through a technical glitch or something?
Yeah,
but
I can't.
Okay, no problem. So
she's not there, yeah.
She's not there. Nidika, do you want to just address this, and then I
Sure.
Yeah.
So why don't you address first, and then if there's anything, then I can add to it. Yeah.
Certainly. So Anmol, I would not, as they say, there is in NLP, the first theory is there is no failures. There's only feedback. Niharika, you're the guru here. Nidika, you're the guru here. Check me if I'm wrong.
No, you said it just right. So go ahead, Mreema.
Perfect. So my point is very clear, and this somehow came from my parents, Anmol. I failed. Let me be honest. I was the All India Best Cadet. I was in the Army. I was in the Air Force, wanting to be a pilot. I went and gave my PBT test. I was a success. I did all my rounds as a trained officer. I was a success. There was one point in my life, I don't know where I went wrong, in which part of my physical training. I was rejected at the final point. Otherwise, I would be wearing a proud Air Force uniform today, right? So I failed. I remember it was the year 1993. I took that bus journey back from Dehradun Air Force Academy, back to Delhi, back to Mumbai, all alone, being rejected. All through, only said to me one thing, as Nidika just said, positive self-talk. And if not for my parents who said, you're a beautiful girl, we know you gave your best, come back, because probably if one door closed, the others have opened up for you. And yes, all through that journey, from Dehradun to Delhi, slowly, when that girl who felt like a failure picked up herself, took the feedback from her parents, there were no mobile phones that time. I left the academy with my mother's voice. I reached Delhi and called her up because obviously my mom was worried. I was a single woman traveling in 1993. I was all of 17 or 18 then. And I just told myself, Almond, only one thing, that there's another window opening up for me. And it did. The beautiful world of media opened up for me. All right? So yes, you have to pick yourself up. You have to learn. But it's only that feedback. And what the other panelists have told you all very, very clearly, do not get into that zone of insecurity or inferiority. Anmol, everybody goes through every entrepreneur, whether it is Ambani, definitely has tested failure somewhere. But what is the power there? Is to stand up and say, okay, guys, now what next? Anmol, does it resonate with you?
Thank you, ma'am. I've noted all the things. Thank you. It was amazing.
Yeah, it is a personal experience. It was horrible. I was like this dream of wearing to wear that Air Force uniform, and it all came crashing down just because of 3 points, maybe, right? So it happens. And building my team in the Indian Express. Let me be honest. If not for my super good bosses, I don't know, maybe my journey would not have been as easy in the media world, but trust me, my 20 years with the Indian Express has been fabulous. I only look back with so much pride. 18 years actually, precisely. I was a very young mother. My daughter was just 4 months old, 6 months old when they gave me the position of the associate editor. My boss only told me one thing: we are giving an internal promotion and there's a lot happening, that she's a young mother with a 4-month-old daughter. Will she deliver? Will she deliver? It's not possible. She will take maternity leave. She will saying my child's not well. She'll keep asking for sick leave. She's a woman. She's not going to make it. You're making the wrong choice. My boss had, I don't know what faith in me. He's told me that, you know what? I see you as a girl who will deliver with all your barriers, because I see you as a fighter. And I only told my boss one thing: I will not let you down, sir. Just give me my space. I only requested him, sir. There could be one day if I can't come, that doesn't mean I won't deliver. I'm telling you honestly, I would hold my baby, nurture her, whether it was night 12 o'clock. I wrote a report from 12 to 3 in the night. That's my problem, how I deliver. But I did not lead my boss down. And that's how you build confidence, and that's how you build a team. I've given a team of absolutely young kids straight out of XIC, that Xavier School of Communication, a brand new team with zero experience, freshers. And those freshers today, I only told them one straight thing: I'm not your boss. I'm your friend. And one more thing, Anmol, is I did, and I followed it throughout. I never sat in my cabin. I was out making my hands dirty as the editor also. Always a field worker, a ground worker, never dictated terms, but always took feedback from my team. I would shout in the cabin personally, but I would praise them all in the open, because that really works. So you build it by not walking and just giving yarn, but you build your team by actually making your hands dirty, those. Okay, tomorrow you're an entrepreneur, don't be in your silo dictating terms. It's not going to work. You have to walk the talk. Okay, and that's really something that works for me. And does it help?
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely, it does help me, ma'am.
Please
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
dirty. You have to make your hands dirty.
Ma'am, definitely.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ritika, do you want to share your bit here?
You know, I absolutely loved what you shared, Reema. So I wouldn't really like to share anything more on that, but I would definitely want to recommend some books. Is that okay? Please, guys, don't hate me for recommending so many books to you, but I really believe that, you know, I had a quote on my study table when I was your age, which was gifted to me by my elder brother, and it said, "Don't let school interfere with your education." And the only message he was trying to give to me is that there are books beyond your academic books which can teach you so much about life and how things are to be done in life. Please make reading a habit. Even if you, and I'm not saying novels and I'm not talking fiction, I'm talking non-fiction, self-help, leadership, psychological books, books which help you understand other people, books that help you understand relationships, team building, leadership, so on and so forth. Right? So on this topic, I'm going to recommend a few books. For your number one question, you said, can you please help me with what failures you face? So again, you know, Reema answered beautifully. It's all about failing forward. And there is a book by the same name by John Maxwell called Failing Forward. Okay, which is going to give you immense number of examples as to how the people who are rich and famous have failed so many times, because failure is nothing but a stepping stone to success. So that's where the problem is only when you if you keep making the same mistake over and over again and you learn nothing from it, that's when a failure really becomes a failure. Otherwise, as Reema mentioned, it is feedback, right? So you learn, you grow, and you move ahead. And of course, there was a comment from Deepesh. He said that, ma'am, I believe we never lose, either we learn experience. And there is a book called by the same name, Sometimes You Win and Sometimes You Learn, again by John Maxwell. These two books will open your eyes as to how many times people who are successful have failed in their lives, right? So they always, you know, there's a joke we say in our coaching that it took a billionaire typically 3.2 bankruptcies and 20 years of failures to become an overnight success. But what people always talk about is the overnight success, not the struggle that happened for 20 years. Not when you were not getting the responses, right? So read books, they'll be eye openers for you. The next is How Do You Build Your Team? Another book, 17 Laws of Teamwork by John Maxwell. Okay? Very simply, Reema already said lead by example. Second is, how do you prioritize organizational goals, team goals, and your own personal goals? always organization first, team second, and you in the end. If your own personal interest is above any of these two, you're not going to go very far in life. So very, very important to get that book. How do you know when you have a right idea? Again, there is something known as, I think, spirituality we've not touched upon, so I'm going to touch upon that, because Dr. Jyoti is also working with the spirituality cell. And I'm sure when your heart, mind and will are aligned, that that you have the right idea. When your mind has a logical reasoning for it, when your heart has an emotional reason for it, and that this idea is workable in the practical sense of the word, and whether an economy goes up or goes down, this idea is still relevant. And of course there are many other parameters, but that is how you know that your idea is right, whose time has come. Okay, it could be a new idea, that's fine, but as long as you feel that yes, it's workable, give it a shot. That's all I want to say. Give it a shot. No experience in life ever goes waste. Whatever you do, whether you learn from it or you succeed at it, both ways you are learning. So make it a learning experience. Yeah, Reema.
Beautiful. So thank you, Nidika. I'm so glad I also resonated with you, because you have been a life coach, and but these are genuinely what I spoke to Anmol some time ago was totally ekdam dil se, like really what I've gone through in life. But it's all right. I think we all emerge successful. Nidika, there's a question that is coming from Anjali, and she says, "Can you please throw some light on your book, The Queen of the Comeback?"
Sure, Anjali. Thank you for asking that question, darling. So the book has actually, so this is the book I wrote about, how I actually came back to life after my biggest failure, which is fighting depression. But it's not a sob story. So it doesn't, it finishes the sob story in the first 3 pages of the book. And then it's all practical advice. So it's more like a workbook, which you can go through and you can deal with your own life situations, whether it's a wheel of life, whether it's designing your entire financial future. It gives you lots of tools and kits which you can apply and work on your own life like a workbook. So the first 7 chapters is all about success principles. What do you need to do? What does your daily agenda need to look like? What are the success habits you must have? And then the 7th chapter, which is my favorite chapter, is actually interviews of 7 very successful entrepreneurs and different backgrounds who've had different failures. Okay, so it has the story of Narayan Murthy of Infosys, whom I interviewed for the book. It's got the story of film director Anurag Kashyap. It has got a story of Kanika Tekriwal, who's the CEO of Jet Set Go, which is basically the Uber of the skies. So she deals with chartered planes, private planes, and so on and so forth. There are 7 interviews, and they are life-changing interviews, I promise you. If you read those interviews, you'll get so much wisdom on what it takes to be successful in the real world. That's what the book contains. Yeah, Reema. Anjali, hope that, yeah, and you can get the book from Amazon, so it's available there.
Awesome. What I liked about your entire book is you said it's a workbook. It's so important. It's not just, it's like this practical workbook, because, as they say, you can't just live in a world of, halos, but you have to come back to reality. And your book is all about that real punch and that touch. So brilliant.
Thank you.
We lost you somewhere in the journey. We're so happy to see you back.
Yes, I had some technical glitch, so I was trying to reconnect.
I'm so happy to have you back, Lyric, because this question is actually so meant for you. There's this question again, which Anmol is asking, that how do you know that this is the right idea? Like, dimag ki batti jali types. Okay, now, this is the right idea for entrepreneurship. That's a good one. So Lyric can probably take that.
So I think one thing that I've learned over these years is to, more than actually following my brain or my heart, I've started following my gut. A lot of times the gut tells you to do, it tells you this is the right thing for you. And I have actually followed my gut, and 99.99% my gut has told me the right thing, and I think it's very, very important to when you have a brilliant idea and you know that this is something that I want to do, right? It doesn't have to be unique. I think the world that we've come we are in right now, everybody believes that okay, your product or whatever you're coming up, it has to be very, very unique. I don't think there's anything wrong in creating something that's not very unique, as long as you believe in it. If you believe in what you're building or what you're creating, it doesn't have to be very, very unique. So I think one is following your gut, Anmol. I hope that answers your question. Second thing is, I think in believing in what your product is. Whatever you're building, you got to just believe in it. It could be as simple as, you starting a, probably you starting a food cart, and a lot of people are doing that. But if you believe in your food that you're selling, and if you believe in your model, I think that's what all people are going to look at, because people are not going to see how unique your product or your brand or your company is. They're just going to see like how passionate you are in what you're doing. And people buy passion. That's what they're gonna buy from you. Your customers are gonna buy your passion. They're gonna buy your dedication towards your business. They're gonna buy your confidence that you have towards what you're selling. So if you can do that, I think it should work. So I hope that answers your question, Anmol.
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
totally. Thank you.
There is a question from Miss Miss Anupama Tiwari. She's of course our host, and she's asking this question very straightforward. In today's world of instant gratification, what and how should our students should our students do to keep themselves motivated? Nidika, this comes.
Yes. Thank you.
That is
Thank you,
Yeah, sorry,
Disha. Dr.
Nidika.
Disha Shah's question.
Oh, that's
So she's
Shisha's question. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So again, I'd like to, Dr. Disha, start with the name of a book, actually two books, Slight Edge by Jeff Olson and Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Both the books talk about a very interesting concept. It says that, compound effect of what we do on our daily basis can change the entire course of our life. So I'll take an example with food because it's easiest to understand. If somebody eats a burger today, students, I'll be really happy if you chat with me on this one, okay? If someone has a burger today, do you think they're going to become fat? Yes or no? Quickly, come on, put in the chat box. Come on, guys, don't be lazy. One day, if they have a burger, will they become fat? No, right? But if they have a burger every single day for the rest 1 year, do you think this person is now going to become fat?
Yes.
Absolutely, right? Again, if somebody eats healthy food one day, do you think they're going to lose weight? No. But if they eat healthy food every single day for the rest of their lives, they are going to remain fit and fine. Correct? So the whole point is what you do today impacts your future, right? Every single action you take today impacts the future. So one of the things that you want to do is, while you have these big goals, you want to break them up, break them up into small consumable bits, which you can do on a daily basis, with something that you can accomplish in a day. The way I personally do it, I have 3 big goals for the day. Every day there are 3 big goals. It's of course around reading, writing and coaching, because that's my profession. But you could choose for yourself. It could be anything. As long as you accomplish those 3 goals, you must celebrate, because that's what's going to keep you motivated. So while you have this large goal, a yearly goal, then you have a 6-monthly goal, and then you have a 3-monthly goal, and then you have a monthly goal, and then you have your weekly goals, and then you have a daily goal, which is made up of 2-3 things which are going to take you in the direction of where you want to go. Because if you don't, let's say you don't study today, it's not like you're going to fail your exams. But if you don't study every day for the whole year, you might fail your exams unless you cheat, right? Now, if you study today, you're not going to become the brightest student in the class, but if you study every single day, you may become the brightest student in class, right? So how are you increasing your chances? By compounding effect of good daily habits. So what are the daily habits you need for success? You need to be reading every day. You need to be listening to motivational, inspirational audio content every day, which is teaching you something about life or life skills. Okay. You need to learn networking skills, people skills, emotional intelligence. We already spoke about that. Learning is a continuous experience. A lot of students have this tendency that once they are out of college, they think padhai khatam ho gayi. No, that's where the real education starts. So continuously invest in your education. Don't ever think education gets over.
A daily gratitude is very important, because when you're grateful for things, you start noticing things which are going right, and that's going to give you motivation. Keeping yourself physically fit, so exercising every day and sleeping properly, very, very important. Again, why is that important? Because when you are rested properly, you have the desire to go out and do something. If you're not rested properly, if you're doing late nights, watching Netflix till late hours, you have zero motivation in the morning to do anything interesting. Okay, your nutrition plays an important role. Now, I know we're talking about health, we're talking about sleep, we're talking about physical exercise. How does that impact my motivation? It does, because if you don't have the energy in your body to go out and fight for your goals in your life, you're never going to achieve them. You may have big plans, but then you'll be lazy, you'll be procrastinating, you'll be wasting your time, which you don't want to do. So again, yes, these are times of instant gratification. We know कि अगर खाना microwave में डालें तो वो 5 मिनट में गर्म होके आ जाता है. But life is very different to that. It's not a video game that we play on our Instagram, on our mobiles, right? A lot of children these days play video games and they jump levels very fast, but life takes a bit of time. But what you do in your daily agenda impacts your future. It can take you towards success or failure. And that's why that is very important. And celebrating your wins on a daily basis is very important. Doing your gratitude on a daily basis is very, very important to stay motivated and inspired. And one more thing you want to do is belong to a community that's going somewhere. You may have friends, but if they don't have big goals, if they don't have similar goals as yourself, and you're not in a community, you may set the goals, but you may never accomplish them. So staying motivated also is very important, that you have a good support group, a good on the same thing. Everybody is trying to get to a certain place together. So you become each other's motivators and support mechanisms. So that's another thing that you could do. Dr. Disha, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, to quite an extent it does. My question is also to Lyric. Is something that because you've done the transition and you've worked in corporate,
Yes.
and both of you rather haven't, all have had the experience of doing both the working on both the sides of the desk, if I may say so. There are some attributes that help you pull through your worst days and help you move on or push you through the best days also. For students today, when I said instant gratification is something that they're looking at very instantly, and they get demotivated. Depression and other vices, I did rather say, get developed because of various other factors and in the stress that they are kind of living. I mean, over the years, I think all of us can say we had a better childhood, if I may say so, than today's students and kids, because they have a lot of
I
other things
agree.
going on.
I agree with that.
So what is it that can keep them, like you guys already said, instant gratification, and how should they stop self-doubting themselves? And something that the simple exercise that whatever they choose, being an entrepreneur or getting into the corporate bandwagon, keeps them moving ahead and not lose faith in themselves very easily.
That's true. Can I answer your question?
Yeah. Yes, please go
Please,
ahead.
ma'am.
Ms. Anupama? Okay. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I totally agree with every point that Ms. Nadika just spoke about. And to add on to that, so there are a couple of things that I do which really helps me stay self-motivated. Number one is, and I think a lot of people will agree with this, that it's even your network. I think it's even your surrounding and your environment. And I have learned a lot that the environment that I have been in has played a really important role in where I am today or where my business is today. So I think it's very, very important to choose your network very, very wisely. There are people who will lift you, and there are people who will pull you down. There are different energies that people carry, right? So you have to choose those energies very, very wisely. You got to pick those energies very, very wisely. There's certain energies which are, I call them the vampire energies. They suck all the good energies from you. They take all the good energies from you. So you got to keep yourself away from those kind of energies. So be very, very careful with your surrounding and your network. There's a saying that your network will determine your net worth. The amount of time that you spend, the kind of books that you read today, and the kind of people that you hang out with will actually determine who you become in the next 5 years from today. So very, very important that be very careful with your network, who you choose to spend time with. That's number one. And second, and the most important thing is also feeding your mind with a lot of positive information. The problem is that internet has been a boon and a bane. But because there's so much excess information around us that we end up consuming all the information, something that's not even relevant to us, something that's making us become more analytical and becoming, life is so simple, but we're complicating it because of the amount of information that's around us. So I think it's very important to also be very choosy in terms of what kind of information are we consuming, because that energy is, we're consuming our mind into it, and all our time is getting invested in that. So it's very important to also make sure that we are feeding our mind with the right kind of information. If you feed your mind with the right kind of information, the emotions that you carry will be very, very different. And I believe in something called as law of attraction. What you think is what you get. Your actions are connected to your thoughts, but there's one thing that's a missing element here, right? Law of attraction only works for people who are emotionally feeling the way how they're thinking. If your thought is that I want to be successful, but your emotions are that I'm not very confident, I'm feeling low on energy, or like I don't think that I'm going to be successful, then there's a disconnect here between your thoughts and your emotions. So your thoughts and your emotions have to be in alignment. Very important. And for you to be in alignment, you need to start feeding your mind with the right information and surround yourself with right people. So I think these are 2 tips that I can provide with for people who feel that, okay, keeping self-motivated is definitely a challenge for me. So if you can start working on this, you can actually see a lot of change in yourself. So thank you so much. So I now hope that answers.
Oh, it's very, very powerful. For me, it's powerful. I'm sure it's very powerful for students as well. It's a very simple message, but a very profound message of the law of attraction and the fact that your network is your net worth. It's a very, very interesting aspect of life, that who you deal with, your surrounding brings in that energy. Solely, beautifully said. And with your permission, Shweta, Prajakta, we've crossed our 6 o'clock schedule. So I respect time. So do you want me to take 1 or 2 questions, or do we have, the director and Ms. Jyoti having their views? Prajakta and Shweta, do you want to guide me here?
Maybe, Reema, we can take one last question and then we can wrap it up.
Okay. I would like to respect this question that has come from. So, Arya, your question is very clear. That have you ever rejected a client, or have you turned down a client? Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. So, do you want me to get it specific to someone?
Lyric, ma'am, or you can also answer it, no problem.
No problem. So, Lyric, do you want to take that? Do you in your entrepreneurial journey as Palladium, did you ever reject a client for certain things? Well, I definitely want to answer this, but I would love you to probably give your insight.
Yes, I have, and the reason would be because the reason why I started my own business and the reason I am still in the same business is because my motto was very, very clear, was to help, was to serve people, and I would not want to be involved in any activities that's deceiving in nature, or uh, you know something that's only involves one person benefiting and other people not. So for me, honestly, when the purpose is not being met, or when I didn't resonate with the motto of my business, right, that I'm trying to bring about, I have taken those decisions in the past where I did turn down certain clients. So yes, I have. But I think that's part of being an entrepreneur. That's part of you running a business, right? Because if you're clear with your purpose and your motto of, why did you start the business, and if it doesn't resonate with what the client needs or the client demands from you, then I think it's okay to turn down the client.
I completely go with Lyric's voice, and I resonate with her in her passion about rejecting it. It's not an easy walk to reject, but there's one thing I want to bring to your notice here is, in the media world, it's a very different world, right? And it's genuinely, in my 18 years, there have been many incidences where I have said no to unethical reportage. I have said no, thank you to my organization, of course, that only respects journalism of courage. I personally have rejected so they are not clients. These are stories which we give as editors, right? I have rejected stories on principles, on my ethics, and I'm so grateful that I had bosses who supported that ethical call. So, Arya, it's your inner compass. It's your compass when I was the editor, and it's my inner compass now, whether I'm with Remarkable, which is my baby. What I want to do with my baby is my choice. It's my ethical call. I don't make Remarkable a success story on unethical trade practices. That I'm very, very, very clear about, right? So hence, it's all about stories of sense and not sensation. And this is not a mother statement. It's a statement which I live with, which I believe in, as Lyric said, as Nidika said. If you don't believe in your brand, now my dost, nothing will work. If you don't believe in that purpose, what you want to deliver, that will then, rejecting the client comes so easily then. Because this client is not a part of your purpose. In my 7th journey, I have rejected 3 clients already who probably wanted me to favor them by featuring them on my channel because they thought कि ये चलो थोड़ा इनको पैसा नहीं ऐसा नहीं है. As she said, if your purpose is clear now, this rejection comes very naturally. Your ethical call, your inner compass is your answer, my dost. All right, this is something very small I want to tell you, but it is extremely important that inner voice will come and tell you, okay, boss, ruk ja, nahi to the call is yours.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So my fellow students, director of such a wealthy institution called Vivekananda Education Society, Jyoti, ma'am, you have been the force who brought us all together. You have been the head of entrepreneurship. You've been the head of spirituality. You wear such beautiful hats. You have a team of professionals with you. I can see Miss Anupama Tiwari. There was Dr. Shah, a team of people who worked behind this. Your beautiful students. There was Shweta. There was Prajakta. There was Dipesh, and there were so many names who asked such beautiful questions. I personally, as the moderator of the session, would say a humble thank you, really. I've lived with gratitude today. These 2 hours for me was hours of absolute deep gratitude because I learned so much. I am going so enriched, literally, by my fellow panelists. I've learned so much from Lyric. I've learned so much from Nidika. I've learned so much from Prachi. These 3 women have given me strength. More than the students, I don't know. I have got this gift. Thank you, in fact, Vivekananda Education Society for giving me this gift. And I now hand over the platform with absolute gratitude and humility to Ms. Jyoti Chandwani and to the entire team. Namaste, thank you, and we all hope to live in happy times, safe, secure, and with absolute love. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Reema.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Indeed, it was an amazing, insightful session. Now we have arranged a fun activity for all the students, for which the link is posted in the chat section. Please complete the activity in given time constraint because the certificates will be provided to top 3 performers. The link will be open for 15 minutes, and if you are facing any issues with a Google form, please contact FMB cell members. Now I request Director Sir to come over and conclude the event.
Yeah, thank you. This was an excellent session which I attended. Since I am a professor, I would like to give a task to all the students who have attended this session. Just to go through the recording of this whole conversation once again, and I would like all of you to list down all the books which were mentioned. And I would like all those books available in our library so that whenever you want to read them, it is available to you. So Professor Jyoti, Anupama, all those, you interact with all the students, go through the video once again, because such wonderful books, they were referred by our speakers. It is and I think if she said that she has read more than 300 books. If she can share some of those titles with us, we will definitely buy those books for our library, and we can have a help section itself in our library so that any student who want to read those books are available to them. So please make sure that we receive the list of those books, because
Sure, sure, Dr. Satish. It will be an honor. I will share it with Dr. Jyoti.
yeah, sure, it will be a very welcome gesture. And the real thing comes not only from reading but from experiences. And the talk which I heard for last 2 hours is a blend of reading, learning, thinking about them, and also amalgamating it with your experiences. So I would request all the students that maybe you were listening to it just for the first time, but if the video recording is available, listen to the whole conversation again, and again. And I would like Professor Jyoti to post this on our YouTube channel, because I have not heard this kind of conversation before, where so many aspects are brought out. So this was a very, very exciting and learning experience for me. And I would like to thank all the speakers personally for finding time to address our students. And thank you once again.
Director, Director Satish Mode, we thank you. It's really through your leadership, your team works, and really we are all honored to be a part of this beautiful conversation. Thank you.
And you're always invited to our institute. The way you moderated this session was excellent.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes,
Sure,
Professor.
sir. Yes, sir. I'll definitely take the list of books from Nidika, and I'll definitely share the recording also with all the students and the panelists, and definitely I'll edit the recording accordingly and post it on YouTube also, sir. Amazing learning for all the students, sir.
Yeah, this is excellent, and we should definitely advertise this recording.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah. And I will take your leave. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. So I think we don't officially log off. Dr. Jyoti, can we all officially log off?
Yeah, just give me a second. Like I'll just give the vote of thanks. The students have prepared something for the vote of thanks.
Sure.
So after this vibrant panel discussion, I'm really left speechless. Even I had such list of questions. But I think, looking at the constraint of the time, maybe, once the COVID situation get normalized, we'll invite you all again and we can have a live session. I'm really, students were messaging me in my personal chat, we would like to have a live session. So maybe in January, February, whenever we reopen, I'll invite you all. So because today is being the celebration of women power that has taken on a social cultural aspect, So women role plays account for improved economic growth and stability within a country. They inspire other women to start business. The esteemed panelist is the example of it. This leads to more job creation for women, which ultimately helps in reducing gender gap, which we also discussed in the discussion. When women become successful in the field, the next generation of women automatically would like to, emulate their success. And thank you so much, Lyric, Nidika, and Prachi, for joining us and sharing your journey so honestly and openly and guiding and motivating the students. Thank you, Reema, for accepting my invitation to be the moderator of this wonderful panel discussion. You have really done your job in the most extraordinary way. Thank you so much. I'm sure a student would have definitely taken some insights from the panelists, which would help them in their jobs or their entrepreneurial journey. Right? Thank you so much. Over to you, Prajakta.
Yes, ma'am. Now, as we've come to the end of this striking and deeply interesting discussion, it's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks. I want to state that we are grateful to all the speakers here on the dais, as Jyoti ma'am metaphorized our panelists and their work to the work of God Almighty, Durga ma as Prachi ma'am and Reema ma'am, Saraswati ma as Miss Nidika Bell, and Goddess Lakshmi as Lyric ma'am. And they completely stand to it. Also, we will always remember, as Reema ma'am explained, about the 4 pillars of life, which are ethics, integrity, passion, and purpose. That there should be respect irrespective of gender. She also emphasized on saying attitude of gratitude. Prachi ma'am rightfully said One doesn't need only money to start. Even passion works. Lyric Ma'am rightfully said that network leads to net worth. And lack of self-confidence is one of the major reasons of failure of women entrepreneurship. Nidika Ma'am explained that entrepreneurship is not only about making money, but it is about maintaining a work life and personal life balance. Our mental health is also extremely important. Women have high emotional intelligence, which is very relevant skill to have in today's world. And every accomplishment should be celebrated, whether it is small or big, as insecurity will definitely bring a person down. All the wealth which you gave us in the form of books are noted and would be cherished forever. Special thanks to our director, sir, for gracing our event with his presence. I specifically thank the people who've been the backbone of the event: Jyoti ma'am, management, administration, teachers, non-teaching staff, student fraternity, the FMB cell, and last but not the least, our lovely audience. As we know, events like this cannot happen overnight. So as the wheels started rolling weeks ago and required planning and bird's eye view to get the details right, here we are fortunate enough to be backed by a very dedicated and motivated team of teachers and students. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shweta and Prajakta. Thank you, the panelists. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting us. It has been an immense joy to be here and share and talk to students and understand what kind of questions they have in their mind. It's really, really incredible. And Reema's been a great moderator, and Lyric's been a great panelist with us. And Shweta and Prajakta, of course, have been great hosts. And thank you, Dr. Jyoti, for having me over. And lots of love to all the children, all the students who were listening to us. I always say read books that they can change your life. And of course, apply those books as well, not just read, right? Because knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is even a bigger power. So, yeah, thank you so much for having us, Dr. Jyoti.
Pleasure is mine always, Nidika.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jyoti. I think it was a wonderful session. I got to learn a lot from the other panelists. I learned a lot from Ms. Nidika Bal and from Ms. Reema as well. It was a wonderful opportunity for me to share my story, and I was really happy that students could resonate with it. I've already started getting some people messaging me, so it's great. And also, because I do a lot of training live webinars, and we have one happening on the 29th and the 30th. So we would be having a lot of experts coming in from, with different level of experiences. They all are coming together, and we are sharing our trade secrets. So, all the students are welcome to be part of that live webinar, which is happening on the 29th and 30th.
Yeah, so if you share the link with me, I'll forward it to all the students.
I'll definitely share the link. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Jyoti. Really, and one message to all the students. Join me on my remarkable journey. I'll be very, very happy. All you can do is to subscribe if you can, if you think it's worth it. And if you have any stories of strength to share with me, as students also, let me vet it. I'll be very happy to feature you all with your own unique stories of remarkable abilities. Thank you once again.
That's a wonderful thing. I think I'll coordinate with the students. If they've got any such stories, we would definitely like to come on that.
Please. Can we officially log off?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Reem. Thank you.